Hello, welcome ladies and gentlemen to another one of my videos. I am Christopher Mitchell, Executive General Manager here at Sun Lakes Country Club, and bringing you today another PowerPoint presentation and some narrative on some financial questions that we're receiving. So let's get on to that. Today is March 28th, 2024. So first off, let's talk about within food and beverage operations, why is the budget off for January and February? This has been a topic, and though explained, I thought it needed an explanation to you, the viewer, because again, there's already a rumor mill, not Ville, out here. So let's look at the January 2024 activity. This you can find in your financial statements that are produced monthly. And you'll see during the month of January, and you look at the little highlight food and beverage total, that the loss that was incurred was $104,831 compared to a budgeted loss of $47,000. That's January. Okay, let's go February. So they're reporting a $86,000 loss compared to a budgeted $39,804 loss. So for January and February, that combined total is $191,005 lost subsidy versus an annual budgeted subsidy of a lost subsidy of $87,281. What's happening, Mr. Mitchell? Well, let's first go into something that was explained last October in those budget meetings that we talked about. You might remember, or you may be tuned out. That's fine. That's why we're here today. The 2024 budget was developed with the idea that the lounge expansion project would begin January 2024. The lounge project was just approved on the open session of March 27th, 2024. Now, the food and beverage service, as you'll see in the budget for 2024, was expected to be reduced. There wasn't going to be a full restaurant. There wasn't going to be the full lounge. There would be a reduction in the service level because of the construction. But what is actually happening is food and beverage operations are operating at full service with regular hours and full usage of the facility. So what you're seeing is, in actuality, more service being provided and compared to a budget that had planned for a reduced service level. So what's the takeaway? Well, the current year budget was built on the first 5 months of 2024, operating at a reduced service level. That means we plan for reduced hours, we plan for reduced labor costs, cost of goods sold, and revenue. Now, with the operations fully open right now, you will have a variance in the budget, period. For this first quarter of 2024, you will have that variance. That is where you have a budget where you plan for something to happen, but actually something may happen differently, and that's what's occurring right now. So how do we get back on track? Well, there'll continue to be a variance for the first quarter of 2024. That's it. And people can talk about that. I'm just telling you that, again, looking back in time during the year of 2023, preparing a 2024 budget, there was assumptions made, and we all thought construction would begin January. So now, what should we do going forward? We should continue to follow the business plan that was developed in August 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you that there is actually a business plan that was developed in collaboration with the board, food and beverage staff, and the administration staff to develop a food and beverage plan. What are we doing? What should we do? You might remember, and I'm going to have my Good Day Sun Lakes team put up some of the old videos that I talked about, some of the impacts of decisions from management, decisions of board, a competition that is occurring right now in the city of Banning and Beaumont, and how that affects the food and beverage. We'll put that video up. I'll make sure Hernan has that. But going forward, we are going to follow this plan, and we're going to now, with the approval of the lounge expansion project at the open session meeting in March, we will need to revise that to reflect the new operating or reduced operating area and the reduced hours. And another thing to get back on track is that we are going to have to communicate what is happening in food and beverage to our members, because we've heard We have a marketing focus team. We have a marketing committee. We have a restaurant and lounge committee. And one of the key things that they're reporting, the feedback they're receiving from the membership is, I don't know when it's open, the restaurant. I don't know when the sandwich is. I don't know if there's an activity or what music. And so one of the things we do before even a plan or anything is communicate what we're doing. And so that means we need to communicate what are our hours, what specials are we doing? And we already have started working on this. If you go to the club calendar on the website, that you can see under a certain date, click what's happening with a band, where they're playing. We're also working to put some monitors in the clubhouse that you'll be able to have the information there. And so you can see a calendar of what's happening, see some of the specials that are happening. And also we should be communicating better what events that are related to food and beverage. And so again, we need to also do this far in advance so that you, the member, know and can plan around these events and attend if it's going to be Mother's Day, Father's Day, 4th of July. Those are the things right now that we're actually planning, but we need to do a better job to communicate that. And so that will be one of the things. These are several of the items that we need to work on to get us back on track, following the plan that we have developed for the food and beverage operations and communicating what we're doing. Item 2. Now, I talked about this at the open session meeting, but this is a constant question that we get, and so decided to put that on here as inquiry. Can Sun Lakes have a capital improvement fund? Well, the short answer is yes, we can. And the board looked and said, we're receiving a lot of questions on this. Let's get our legal counsel. Now, legal counsel of Fiore, Raycups, and Powers actually works for the board of directors. They don't work for the management company. They don't work for First Service. They work for the board. And so the board reached out to the attorney and said, we would like you to do a letter and cite the several sources within the governing documents that show and prove that the board is allowed to have this and authorize the creation, the spend, usage of the capital improvement fund. And so I'm going to make sure that that letter is on the website. I'll work with my Good Day Sun Lakes team to make sure that happens. But here are some quick snippets that I did read, again, at the open, and I'm going to go ahead and read it, a couple of highlights. You can see this. If you're a speed reader watching this on TV, good for you, but you can also go onto the website as well. But this page, under the section of construction on association properties, the board has the power to acquire real or personal property, operate, construct, or reconstruct improvements on or additions to the association properties, or demolish existing improvements, or to enter into ground leases. So summary is they are allowed to do these construction projects. The board you elect, they have the power to utilize association funds to improve areas of Sun Lakes, to tear down and build up something if there's something broken, or in the case of the lounge, to do an expansion project, or as we've done in the past, renovation of the golf course bunkers. Or another example is the pickleball courts that were done on the north side. The board is empowered to do that under the governing documents, and you, the member, elect that board. Now on to the next slide. Key point here is that the board shall establish a no fewer than 2 funds, that being the operating fund, and here it says reserve fund, that is the repair and replacement reserve fund. And you see here underlined, the board does have the power to have other funds which the board of directors may establish to the extent it deems necessary or convenient under the provisions of this declaration. So years ago, more than 15 years ago, the board at that time had decided to build a capital improvement fund for items that are new to be built at Sun Lakes, not existing. Existing items, again, are funded through the repair and replacement fund. So let's look at how we fund for capital improvements. Excuse me. Under section 9.2 of the CC&Rs, provides for special assessments that it can be funded. This capital improvement fund can be, and the key word that's underlined under A, may levy special assessments. And the law uses, there's particular words that lawyers love. There's the may, and then there's the shall. The shall means you're going to do it no matter what. A may gives an option to the board or other governing body on a decision. And so in this case, they may levy a special assessment to construct or install new association properties. So you can see that there that under 9.12 that they may levy a special assessment. 9.04 talks about that the board can do regular assessments, and you can read that at your pleasure. So, pursuant to the foregoing, capital improvements may be funded by special assessments. A key thing right here, this sentence. However, that is not the exclusive means by which capital improvements may be funded. And you see, so again, the board has the power to create this fund. The board has a option of how to fund this fund, how to move monies into it. Going on to it, and then the purpose is here is to use these funds in the capital improvement fund for new amenities or facilities that did not previously exist, or dramatic changes to an existing facility. So what we've done in the past, drought tolerant projects that have been authorized by the board in the past, they altered the landscape, so to speak, of the golf course. That was a dramatic change requiring usage of a capital improvement. When the roof on the sand wedge was converted from that pyramid clear glass problematic roof and was changed to be a closed flat roof capital improvement. In this case, a dramatic change is going to occur in the lounge, and that a large majority of those funds are going to come from the capital improvement fund because it's a dramatic change. Now, in this middle section, the boards under 6.05, excuse me, I am recovering from a cold. I do apologize, audience. The board is limited to a 5% maximum amount each year that they can spend. And that's very key to note that in this case, we use what are the annual budgeted expenses and revenues. 5% of that's roughly a little over 900,000. So that's a key thing to note of what the purpose is and the limit on it. So now let's move on to, so what now? What is the end result? Well, the board has approved the lounge expansion and the use of capital improvement funds. We talked about that limit that is there for the board and what they're authorized to do. The board, again, here is authorized to use capital improvement funds and repair and replacement funds on this project. Again, there's a limit to how much capital improvement funds can be used by the board. There is no limit on repair and replacement funds. That is a distinct, repair and replacement is covered under Davis-Sterling, the Civil Code. The capital improvement is covered under the governing documents of the association. Unlike popular belief, there is a food and beverage plan that was done in 2023 and will be updated to reflect the lounge expansion activity. And ladies and gentlemen, there is going to be a budget variance for the first quarter of 2024 within food and beverage. As I explained earlier, the plan was to be under construction. In actuality, we're not, and we won't be until April 2024. So that variance will continue. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank you for watching my video. There will be more videos coming up, and if you have comments or items that you would like to discuss, please hit the message to management button on the main website, or drop off your message to management to the front desk where Felicia sits in the main clubhouse. And I look forward to providing you some more information in the future. Take care, stay safe.